I want to talk to John calling in from Texas. John, you're on the air. What's up?
Oh, hello, Dan. Nice to talk to you, man. Thanks for taking my call. Hello, Matt. It's a pleasure to talk to you as well. I'm big fan.
Cool. How can we help you?
Thank you very much.
Well, I just have a question. A while ago, somebody called, and I want to know to refine my my arguments. So I'd like to know if the platypus it is a good argument for evolution.
The platypus,
And if it's
like
not,
animal.
why not? Yes.
Whether it's a good argument for like the existence.
Well, the platypus isn't an argument; it's a creature.
Yes, indeed. But it is not like a kind of missing link because you have poison, you lay eggs, it's a mammal, it's got a little kind of bill and membrane fingers. I just curious because I want to refine my arguments and I don't want to just like argue with somebody and present that and then just be defeated, you know?
I mean, it's not like we don't have any idea about platypuses whatsoever. It's not like, they're a complete mystery to us. I mean, maybe to us as the layman, because I know I'm not a biologist. I know Matt isn't, but, I know people have talked about the platypus before, but I mean, you can trace certain lineages. I mean, the fact that it has the ability to lay eggs, for example, like that doesn't just come from nowhere. You can trace a lineage to that. Like the fact that like a bunch of animals on Earth can do that thing is a result of evolution. Like it kind of goes both ways. So like, any specifics to the platypus, I couldn't tell you. But just because an animal is very divergent from other animals that currently exist, that doesn't say anything about animals that previously existed on Earth. And I'm willing to bet that there's probably a fossil record that demonstrates some more of the lineage of the platypus that I would know of. But
I think you can make strong arguments for the truth and confirmation of the theory of evolution by means of natural selection, because the platypus is one of only two species of monotremes, and both of them are in Australia. And so, in much the same way that when Darwin went out and talked about finches and would look at them and their isolation on the islands to show how geographic isolation, resulted in different lineages. The fact that we only have two monotremes and they're in this area shows how this isolation works. If in fact we had monotremes isolated, or not, instead of being isolated off in Oceania, we'd had them in Africa, all of a sudden you might have seen other changes and more divergent changes.
Yeah.
But we know quite a bit about the platypus specifically because it's a curious thing, and people look at it like, how could that have evolved? And then scientists go out and they study it and they're like, oh, here's the thing and here's the explanation. And by the way, this really confirms what we said all along, which is if you isolate a species so that it can't, so that you limit its abilities to interbreed and change and morph, you get things like this. You get weird things.
And convergent evolution is the thing too. This idea that like two different animals from completely different lineages can evolve similar traits to each other in order to survive in their environment. That's a well-known phenomenon in biology as well. And so sometimes people will point that out and say that, oh, these things have to be related in some way or another, but they really don't have to. In order to, we have a stronger case with genetics to demonstrate lineage than we would just by two animals having the ability to lay eggs, for example, because the platypus isn't as close to modern birds or reptiles, but it does share some ancient lineage because that's where we see the animals today that can do that. So, I think that's pretty much it, John, unless you had anything else.
Well, thank you very much for your explanation, you and Matt. And I got to tell you, I'm a big fan. And if you don't mind, I have one little more question. Like,
John, we're at the end of the show here, but you know what? I'll give it to you. What's up?
What are we doing here, man? What are we doing?
Make it quick.
And okay. A while ago, I watched one of the episodes of the ObjectivelyDan experience, and there was a host with Matt there. She shows 3 jars model.
Yeah,
that's what got me into my path to know the truth and question my beliefs.
Yep.
And, you know, because one was empty, the other one was empty, and the other one had some dices in it. And
Yep.
I thought that was pretty amazing. And I start my curiosity, and I never stop. Is there any flaw on that model? So maybe I can use that as well, if I may ask.
No, it's a great model. Tracy Harris presented that. It was one of a few things that were incredibly significant during Tracy's time with the show. It's a great model to show that you have basically a jar with dice, a jar that's empty, and a jar with transcendental dice. And the jar that's empty and the one with transcendental dice look exactly the same. How do you tell the difference? And it's an important thing. It's kind of like the beginning of set theory for some people, but it also touches on the subjects of how would you demonstrate? How do you tell the difference between a God that doesn't exist and a God that doesn't reveal himself?
Yep. Very important questions to ask. John, that's all the time we got for today's show.
Thank you
Thank
very
you
much
so
for your
much
time.